Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Southern Reads Podcast, the show where I talk about books and only books and everything book related. And today I am joined by novelist Darrell Berry. He is a mystery writer who deals with a small group of high-ranking Pentagon officers and some congressmen who are trying to get rid of gay men and women in the military. He is a retired Army officer himself who has worked in intelligence and also served during the Don't Ask, Don't Tell period in the United States. So he's here today to share a little bit more about his book that he has come out with that is completely fiction and just share a little bit more about his journey as an author. So Darrell, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I'm really looking forward to hearing it and welcome to Southern Reads.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you having me, and I too am looking forward to speaking with you.
So tell me a little bit about the background story behind your book that you've come out with, because as a person that worked in the army and as identifies as gay himself, share with me the story behind the inspiration behind this book.
Okay, well, I served in the Army during the period of time when it was absolutely forbidden to be gay. And then comes along the period of time where the superior couldn't ask you if you were gay and you couldn't tell them you were gay from about 94 to 2011, which is really sort of a stopgap measure, I guess, in between not being able to tell at all and then as they are today, everything's okay. I mean, you can be gay in the military. Anyway, I served during that time, and I served both enlisted ranks and officer ranks, and I worked as an intel officer, as you mentioned. So I'm an avid reader. I'd always wanted to write a book. So I just decided, you know what? I think I'm going to write a mystery novel with something that I'm sort of living through. And although it is totally fiction, and I have to be careful that I say that because when you work in the intel field, you have to be very careful that you don't, of course, deal with any top secret material. And so I assure everybody that the book is totally open source and fiction. But a lot of the ideas and personnel that I write about in the book uh, do have some basis for a fact with them. And anyway, that's kind of what you know got me going as far as writing. And I decided I wrote some, I put it away, wrote some, put it away, then retired from the military and decided, if I'm going to ever do this, I need to do it. So I just sit down and in about 3 months' time, knocked it out. I was self-published. Then I was encouraged to be published by a publisher, which it is now published through uh, Atmosphere Press, which is a great publisher, and I had a great experience with them. And now then, actually, I'm in the process of adapting the book into a screenplay.
Now, when releasing the book, and as you had said that you had to be really careful about what you could say and not put out there in the world, and even though you've said that it's completely fiction, I can only imagine kind of the stress that comes with. Were you nervous about releasing any of the details from your time there in the book, and were you scared of like how people would react when they read it?
Yes, initially I was, and I thought maybe I should use a pseudonym. I know I'm not going to use any secrets, but I was just really worried about that. But as time went on, and then I retired and I had already written some of it. I kind of got to the point where no, I said, I'm not using any classified material and the rest of it I don't really care about. Um so I kind of went from being nervous through a period of few years to being absolutely okay and then wrote the book with no fear at all.
Looking hindsight from people that have been able to read the book, what's been their honest opinions about it, and what's been the overall reception you've received?
Well, it's been very, very good. Of course, when people read the book and get back with you and talk with you about it, usually it's, I would guess, gonna, positive. And mine certainly has been a very positive experience. So let me put it like this. No one, if someone didn't like the book, they didn't talk with me about it. Uh, Although if they didn't like it, I wish they would because I would, would want to know why. But no, the feedback has been very positive from people that have talked with me, and some people that have read the book. I was a little bit surprised that they would be very positive about it. Now, I will say one thing. Um, I have given the book to a few longtime friends, and I guess because of the material of the book, I don't know why, but never heard anything back from them. So, you know, you still have some haters out there, I guess.
So when it came to the writing process, did you do kind of a retelling of what you experienced, or was it just kind of did you have other people contribute to the book as well, of telling their experiences in there as well?
No, it was just me. And I did use, well, I guess maybe I did use a few other examples, but mainly it was me experiences that I, had. Uh, and and then also, with along with the even the Intel part, I used uh, I used things that were, open source that anybody would know about, that we could read about, and just sort of put those two together. If I could just maybe very briefly, for people that don't know, just give a very short rundown of what it's about. And this takes place again, like you mentioned, during the "Don't Ask, Don't Tell" period for gays in the military. Excuse me. And a group of very homophobic general officers have been trying to get rid of gays in the military for years. And a mission comes down to the Pentagon, and it's a legit, legit mission. It's very secret, and it deals with a country that is developing biological agents in quantities large enough to weaponize. Well, the mission comes down and they start planning it, and it becomes apparent right away that this is very dangerous. And the people that go on this mission more than likely will die, or a large percentage of them will, which brings up a real quandary, because you know, how much morbidity and mortality rates are you going to accept on a mission? So anyway, they come up with the idea, well, let's do this. Let's spy on, it's against the law, but let's spy on suspected gay men and women. Gather them together, train them up, and send them on this mission. Now, if they succeed, great, because we'll have a lot of very good intel that we'll be able to, you know, be the people that are in the know of. And so this would be a really good thing. And oh, by the way, if in the process they all die, so what? They're expendable. So that's kind of what the book's about. And it goes through the very beginning where they're spied upon, the gays, they're spied upon, they're trained, they're sent up on this mission. And then I don't want to go too much further because I don't want to don't want to tell you how the book ends. But anyway, it's kind of a roller coaster of ride, and mystery about what happens to this group of gay men and women.
Really am interested in the title of the book because you titled the book Early This Morning. Share with me a little bit about the inspiration behind the name and why did you choose Early This Morning?
Okay, that's a really interesting question. I chose it for two reasons. The first reason is there's a old Army cadence that goes, cadence being, a sergeant in front of a group of soldiers that are running and doing physical training, will call out a cadence and then they'll repeat it. And one cadence goes, as you're jogging along, the sergeant says, early this morning, about a quarter to four. Early this morning, about a quarter till four. And then the company says, early this morning, about a quarter till four. Well, it goes on for a few sentences. But anyway, that was just a very typical cadence call during that period of time. And then the other reason is uh, I'm not going to come clean with it too much because at the very end of the book, it's something that takes place early this morning. So it's sort of a play on two things, a cadence call that all the soldiers would be involved in during that period of time, and then an activity that actually a pivotal activity that takes place early in the morning or early this morning.
I know you had mentioned earlier that you were trying to adapt this into a screenplay. Share with me a little bit about that process. And when you mean screenplay, are you thinking about bringing it like a TV show, a theater play, kind of more movie? What kind of screenplay would you like to see this be turned into?
I really have more in my mind. A movie is what I really have in mind. And well, it's been quite. I'm actually, as we speak, I've got stuff strewn everywhere on my table. I'm right in the middle of it. It's been quite a process. The book was, for me, kind of easy to write. I mean, I really enjoyed it, and the whole process of the book. Yes, it got tedious, and yes, I had to do rewrites, but I really enjoyed it. The screenplay, I'm kind of enjoying it, but it's a whole nother ball game. I've really had to try to educate myself on, how to write one. And luckily, I finally got involved with someone actually through a podcast that is a producer and reads screenplays and does critiques. So I'm working with them. So I feel very fortunate. But it has been a really, really stop and go process. And like I say, I'm in the middle of it right now. And my idea is not so much a theater play, but a movie. I mean, I guess, I could say hopefully it would be a sequence, but I'm not writing it as a sequence. I'm writing it as just a standalone movie.
If you were in the directing chair, who would you want to play some of the roles that you have created and some of the characters that you have imagined for the book?
No one known, no one famous, no one ever heard of, no
Is there a
one.
reason?
Yes, I wouldn't want, um, you know, sometime when you go to a movie and you see John, let's just say, we see John in the movie, he's the main character. Well, you've seen John in two or three other movies, and he may or may not be such a good actor, but it's John playing, an old man, a young man, or this or that, but that's him. I would want, and I know this is kind of really thinking maybe too far out of the box. My idea would be to have people that when you sit down and read the movie, you're not thinking, oh, that's famous John whatever Jones, and he's playing this movie, and oh, this and that. I would want somebody. I mean, I obviously would want good actors,
Right.
but totally different. That when you're watching the movie, you're thinking like one of my main characters' name is Trent. Well, the guy playing Trent, I mean, you think that's Trent. That's not John Jones. That's not Peter this. It is somebody that your favorite frame of reference is this one individual. He sort of becomes the character. I don't know. I know that's sort of crazy in it, but I don't know. That's just what I've thought.
Well, it's kind of in the same aspect of thinking of you want them to be known for this role because there could be 500 different roles that they've played in the past, and that you kind of correlate them to this kind of character, and you're like, well, is this character playing that? That it makes sense. 'Cause I get what you're saying about you want this person to be like known for that role. They don't really need to have any kind of history behind them or anything.
Right.
So I totally could I can see what you're coming from because you really want to them to be able to bring that character to life because
Yeah.
they can take different aspects from different characters that they've played in the past in movies and try to build it on this character, but it's there's nothing like a first time person or like this is their first role.
Yes.
They don't have any of that experience left. So I totally get that.
Mhm.
Um are you planning on turning this into a series, or is this going to be like a one-off book, or what's kind of your future for the book itself?
My idea had always been just a one off, as you say. But excuse me, as one of the people that I've been has been mentoring me, has brought up that series quite a bit because, and I think she brought it up because of, like Netflix is so popular and things like that, where you have a series of, maybe 2 or 3 episodes, or maybe, 30 episodes of various. So she has brought that up. And I would say that the book probably does, or I guess the screenplay probably does lend itself to that. But my whole mindset has always just been just writing a one time movie, beginning to end. And uh, I mean, I certainly wouldn't complain if somebody wanted to make it into a series.
Going forward, for people that are new to the book and they are reading it for the first time, what is the big takeaway and the major key point that you want readers to get when they read the book?
That I would like to say 2 things about that. First of all, I would just hope that people would just enjoy the book if they like, mystery, just an entertaining book to read, number one. Number two, when they finish the book, I would hope that they would reflect a little bit and say, okay, I wonder, could this ever happen again? Could this type of situation, especially with today's environment, politically and other, I would just like them to sort of, for a moment, think back, wow, this was really something back in the day. How far have we come, and could this situation ever happen again? That's really the main thing I would like for people to get out of the book, other than enjoying it.
How does it feel being able to be kind of a voice for the LGBTQ community and bringing this such tough topic to the forefront of not only fellow members of the community, but just to everyone else that may not have the same opinions? How does it feel to bring this very serious topic to a worldwide audience?
You know, it it feels. I mean, I'm proud of the book. It feels good. The reason I'm hesitating is that I hate to ever speak for a group of people, I guess you would say. But yeah, but it feels good because I think about people that either could not or would not be able to say anything, or be able to write or be able to tell their story, but can relate. I've had many people tell me, oh my gosh, males and females, tell me, I can relate absolutely to what you're talking about. In fact, they'll say characters in the book. Now, I do feel really good about this. They'll say characters in the book, that they could just think, I've seen that person before. I've worked with them before. I know about them. And I'm really glad that they can relate so much, if not themselves, at least to other characters in the book. Uh, yeah, that's a very positive feeling.
What advice do you have for fellow authors that maybe are wanting to also talk about tough topics and tough conversations, but they're kind of hesitant of bringing up those kind of topics to a forefront due to how personal and how deeply
Yeah.
contradictory it can be? What advice do you have for them of how they can be very brave in talking about these really tough topics?
Yeah, that's a hard one, I tell you, because everybody has sort of got their road that they walk down, and they're not all the same. It's kind of hard to relate. The only thing I could say is just for me, I guess after enough time passed and I just sort of thought about it and worked through it, because as I was telling you, I went from I'm going to have to use a pseudonym to I don't care at all about writing a pseudonym, using a pseudonym.
Mm.
Um, but I guess my one advice that I would give as far as writing a book, if if people are kind of teetering on should I write one, should I not, is just sit down and start writing. I mean, don't think about what it's going to look like, what it's going to sound like. Just start writing, and that's kind of what I did. And then once I got going, it was much easier. But the other part, it could be so sensitive, and I really don't know. I'm kind of stu I don't know what to say about that because everyone's had different experiences. I would say if there's any way you feel like you can do it comfortably, or maybe even a little uncomfortably, just go ahead and do it. You can write it and just not publish it. You can always go through the process of writing it, letting it sit on a shelf, then reading it, and you may have a different idea about publishing once you get to the end of it. So you certainly nothing lost, nothing gained by writing it. That's for sure.
Well, Daryl, I appreciate you so much for coming on the podcast today to talk about your book and just share a lot about your personal experience with this topic. I think is a really good thing to have people talk about this subject, and I appreciate you for being so open. If people are interested in reading early this morning, where can they go to find the book, and where can they go to stay connected with you if they have, and if they would like to kind of keep updates about what you have going on in the future?
Thank you. Thank you for asking that because I am planning on writing another book down the road. My website is dberrybooks.com. That's D like Delta, dberrybooks.com. That's my website. And it tells a good bit about the book and a little bit about me, and you can leave comments there and critiques or whatever you want it to do. And I would appreciate it if you would do that. And I'm sorry, but you said, oh, where they could buy. The only way to get it, the book is just probably the most popular way nowadays, and through Amazon. It's sold on Amazon. Not in any bookstores, just on Amazon, just because it was easier for me to do it that.
And I will put all this information in the description box in the show notes below his website, as well as links to where you can purchase the book. I'll put all those links down below so that it can be easy access for you guys to find. But everything he's mentioned is through his website, so just go to his website, and I'll put that again down in the description box below. Feel free to follow the podcast on the socials. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at southern.reads. You can go on my Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Noah's Podcast. Feel free to go check those out. You can go to the website noahspodcast.com, and there you'll find links to all the pod all the podcasts that I do, links to my socials, everything that you need to know is on the website. And I also will put those links down below as well. Thank you to everyone for tuning in today's episode. If you enjoyed it, feel free to subscribe or follow so you get notified of when new episodes like this come out. I appreciate you all so much for tuning in and listening. I hope y'all all have a great rest of your day. Be safe, and I will catch you in the next episode of Southern Reads.